Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how you guys can actually make custom scripts for FiveM without having any coding experience, completely for free with AI. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to load into our test server. Now, what this is literally just a test server made with ESX. It's a custom free base that I'm working on that I'm going to be giving completely free to all of you. So if you're interested in that, get ready because it's going to be coming very soon. So basically, we just have an ESX base here. And what I'm going to be making is a notification system. Obviously, you can just prompt it and tell it what you want to know or with the script that you're going to be wanting. But for me and for this video, we're going to be using a example for a notification system. So we're going to be using a ChatGPT, and the reason that we are going to be using ChatGPT is because ChatGPT for free is really good with usage limits. If you want a full breakdown on the best AI tools, I actually have a video posted here on this channel where I broke down every AI tool, which is the best, what does the pricing look like, and things like that. So if you want more of an in-depth breakdown, go watch that video. But ChatGPT is a very good starting point, and it's honestly a really good model. So before we get too started in it, I kind of want to break down how AI works and what is important and how you can actually make a script that actually looks good, like a real developer made it, and then how you can end up with a script that looks terrible, looks AI generated, things like that. And all of it comes down to the prompting in it. So what prompting is basically what you type inside of this little thing here. So whatever you type in here is your prompt. A lot of people will be like, for example, let's use the notification system. Be like, make me a FiveM notification system. If this is all you typed and this is all you prompted, it doesn't have a lot to go off of, meaning what it's going to make you is very basic. It's not very good, and it's not going to be as good as something that mine's going to make just because of what I type in here. So again, what this is called is a prompt, and prompting is the number one thing you can do. I'm going to be giving you my free prompt template that we're about to put in here, and I promise you, if you do it before and after compared to with my prompt template and one without the prompt template, it's going to be a night and day difference. Again, I'm going to be giving this prompt template completely for free. So if you guys do enjoy it and you guys like these kind of videos, make sure you like it and leave a comment down below on if you guys use it or not, what you guys are building with it. So the first things first, if you go to the description, I'll put this at the very top of it. What this is the prompt. So always paste this at the very beginning. What this is kind of giving is clarification to the AI saying who you are. So for example, we're going to be saying you are a senior FiveM developer who ships clean production quality resources. Before writing any code, do research on the latest CFX.lua 5.4, which at the time of writing this is the latest one, and use newer Lua features where FiveM's runtime accepts them. If you are not sure if native exists, use documented alternative. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to stop the AI from hallucinating. A lot of times AI will just make things up that doesn't exist. So if you actually do is if you actually go here to the docs.fivem.net, if you actually look here, this here has everything as far as natives and things go. So this is literally the docs from FiveM themselves. So what we're basically doing is before it says it's done, to go clarify, check its work against the documentation to make sure what it's actually making exists, and most importantly is most up to date, which is also why we said before writing any code, do research on the latest CFX Lua, because if we just put use Lua 5.4, well, if you're watching this 4 months from now and something new comes out, we want to just make sure it's always using the latest. So if you just use this as a prompt, that will always do research first on the latest structure, on the latest code runtime, things like that before it writes any code, which is very important. So after that, what you would write right here is going to be whatever script you want. So again, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a standalone notification system that replaces the default GTA notifications. There's 3 types. There's going to be success, error, and info. It's triggered from a client export, a server event, and a /testnotify command for testing. Notifications stack in the top right corner, slide in smoothly, and auto dismiss after a configurable time. So one thing the important note here is, like, if you're making, let's say, a drug system, a drug script, write a ESX script, right? Or a QBCore or a QBox, whatever framework you're using, so it has that, quality assurance. One thing you can also do is make sure, like how we kind of said, that if you're using, before you say anything's done, run it against the docs.fivem.net. You can also say run it against the ESX documentation. So that way, just make sure it's using the most up to date, that it's not, hallucinating and things like that. But again, for this, we're just gonna be using a standalone notification system. What standalone means is basically standalone is where it works in any server, regardless of the server type. So that's what standalone means. The next thing I'm going to put on here is hard rules. Again, this entire prompt will be in the description below, so you guys can just copy and paste this. But number 1 is standalone. So again, I would update this if you're going to be using something different. So if you're going to be using ESX, you're going to be using Oxlib, update rule number 1. But rule number 2 is going to be using the exact file structure. So it's using like the latest. Number 3 is everything a server owner might want to change lives in the config.lua. So this way is like, so you guys don't have to keep chatting back and forth with AI. This is a pretty important tip. So basically by default, if you don't type that, sometimes what it'll do is it'll just make everything in the code. So if you don't know how to code, when you want to change something, you have to go back into AI and say, hey, make this, instead of being in the top right, make it in the bottom right. Or instead of making it blue, make it orange. Well, if you're just like put everything in the config, then kind of similar how you just buy scripts like from TebX, you're able to just go into the config and easily change it even with no coding experience. So that's just a little bit of a trick that you can put in there as well. Number 4 is a nice clean UI with smooth animations, and it may only transform in opacity so it holds at 60 FPS. Remember, FiveM does not support backdrop blur. Never use it. Fake glass with semi-transparent solid backgrounds, and use soft shadows instead. So let me break this down real quick. The reason this is important is AI is built on the latest. So with the newest latest trend in UI is using like this kind of like glassy theme, kind of like what even Apple's been using. The problem is with FiveM, it runs on an old runtime. I'm not going to get too kind of complicated here, but basically FiveM doesn't support blur. Now with that being said, if they use blur, the AI agent uses blur when writing the script. Instead of it being a blur, it's going to be a big black box. Now, a lot of people get confused when they see that. They're like, oh, this is broken. All it is it's using blur. So what we're doing in the prompt is we're telling it, hey, don't use blur. And if it uses blur for whatever reason, you can tell it to just remove it. But doing it this way will make it where when it writes it the first time, you don't have blur. So this, again, it's kind of an important rule to keep in here. Number 5 is the HTML body stays fully transparent, and so forth. So if you want to go through and you want to read all these rules, you're more than welcome to do that. Again, all this entire prompt's in the description below, so you can easily copy this straight from the description into your ChatGPT. And then the last thing we're going to put in here is after I install it, I will paste any FA errors or server console errors back to you exactly as they appear. When I do, return the complete corrected file, not a fragment. Same when I ask for changes in plain English. So what this basically is doing is like, let's say there's an error or there's some changes that we want to happen to the script. Instead of me like sending it and then it's like, okay, we'll go into the code and copy and paste and update this function and having to copy and paste between, what it's going to do is just kind of fix it for you, send the zip again, right? And then you can just download it and replace. And so that way it kind of moves smoother. If you'd rather it just send you fragmented parts where it's just sending you the specific part to replace, you can tell it that. But to me, this is a lot faster, especially if there's a big bug where it needs multiple different file changes. You'd have to go to multiple different spots and multiple different files and update it. Where this will just give you one zip. You can download the zip and use that. It's very simple. So yeah, with that being said, that was the full prompts. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing go crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the little arrow and let it go. Also, one thing to note is if you actually go in here, you can actually go into the advanced little drop down here and you can change the models. So I'm using 5.6 Sol, which is the latest flagship model, meaning it is the newest and best OpenAI model, which is ChatGPT. The effort that I'm using is also on high. I recommend keeping it on high for these scripts. I wouldn't put it on instant or medium. And also I would just recommend using Sol as well. Now, if you are on the free version, this could be a little bit different for you, but I believe the other ones are called Luna and Terra. Both can probably make FiveM scripts pretty well. They're not too complicated. But for the most part, I would just stick to 5.6 Sol. It's a really strong model and it should make you something very solid. So now right here, what it's going to do is it's going to verify all the runtime behavior, FiveM API native. So as you see, it's checking the official docs right now. So it just got the latest from the official docs. So that way it knows exactly what is the latest. And now it's going to start writing the script. So as soon as that's done, I'll come back in here. We'll grab the script and add it to the server. Also, real quick, if you go over to trase.dev/AI, you can actually come in here, type in your email, and what I will send you straight to your email is a completely free PDF that basically outlines every single AI tool I use, what is best, what is the worst, what is the pros and cons to each, which do I recommend, when do I recommend them, and why. Again, it's completely free. This is my gift to you. If you just head over to trace.dev/AI or go to the link in the description, you just come in here, type in your email address, and I'll send that right over to you. So also forgot to mention, you may want to put in your prompt, and again, I'll update this. So once you copy and paste it over, it's fine. And the hard rules is to send it in a zip. So when it's done, it doesn't send it individually. As you see, it wrote everything, but now it's wanting me to make this individually. I'm not doing all that. I'm just going to have it create the file and zip it up for me. So just a little quick note. I wanted to, put that in here of like, you can work back and forth with AI. I'm just going to put it in a zip. If you'd rather copy and paste, you're more than welcome to. But I just think that it's unneeded kind of work for absolutely no benefit. All right, so cool. So now I went ahead and got it. So I'm just going to go ahead and download the zip file. And so now to install it, if you don't know how to install a script, I want to go look at some other videos on the channel. It's super simple. All we're going to do is drag and drop it into resources. So we have our resources up. We're just going to throw it in custom scripts. I'm just going to throw it into standalone_notify. I'm going to go ahead and copy the name. I'm going to go back into my FiveM. I'm going to press F8. I'm going to type refresh, which refreshes, it kind of refreshes and refreshes all the resources because I just added it to the resources folder. Then I'm going to type ensure and paste the name of the resource. Then I'm just going to do the test notify command, because you remember in the prompt I said make a test notify command to test it, and there we go. So information here is an information notification. So as you see, it came in, it went out. It's exactly what we want. but what I would like is more smooth animations. So as you can see with AI, the problem is with AI is it rarely ever one shots anything. So what I mean by that is I said, use slide in, nice effect, smooth animations, but it didn't do that. So all we're going to do is we're going to go back into ChatGPT, and this is exactly how I iterate, or you can iterate strips. So it'll literally be like, this is good, but few changes, then send back as a zip. So I'm about to make it do some iterations. So the iteration I'm going to make is make sure that it has animations for the notifications, because right now they just kind of appear, and then make the /testnotify command show all 3 notification types, because if you remember, there should be the error, the info, and then the success. So again, it's just going to keep iterating back and forth until you get your final result. But the main thing that I wanted to stress on here is that these here are very important, because a lot of people will go over and skip over these rules. And obviously when it's something like an animation, you can see that and you can iterate that with AI. But if it's something where it's using outdated code, it's using things that, it's writing code that's not optimized, it's not really what we call production ready, then that's something that's what is called in the back end, something you don't see, and will only hurt your server in the long run, because you don't necessarily know it's bad, that you don't know it's broken, but it is broken. And so that's why I wanted to stress that, make sure before you start this, use these rules, use that prompt, because it will make the code that it writes significantly better. Also make sure it's always up to date, because it'll always, like I said, as you saw live, it fetched the docs, then wrote the code, then verified against the documentation, which is important because in the space of FiveM, AI likes to hallucinate, and so that'll kind of help fight against that. So here we go. It made our changes. So now all we're going to do is really re-download this. We're going to go back into our resources folder, delete this one, drag this one back in, go right back into our server, type in sure, paste that again, and then just type test notify. There we go. So now we have 3 types: information, error, and success. And as you see, now it has the animation to go out and in. So as you see, we just made a completely custom script that has UI involved and all of that straight with AI. So something that I also want to go ahead and point out real quick is that if you actually come into the script and we go into the config.lua, you can see this thing wrote an entire config with notes, so you can easily come in here and change things around as if this was made by a developer. Again, this is the part that a lot of people miss. They don't say make it a config file. So then, like, let's say you wanted to change the info color, you'd have to go to AI that, where now you can come in here and just change it here and it automatically changes it. So that's just something I wanted to quick note. One last thing I want to go ahead and tell you guys, and this is the cons, is number one is that this isn't a developer. If you don't know how to code and you're looking to start a big server, I always recommend to pick up a developer to work on your team, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, there's pilots that have autopilot, but you still wouldn't not want a pilot to not fly the plane. That's like the best reference that I can give, because at the end of the day, a lot of these servers are using AI now to make their custom scripts and make these custom things. But 2 things come with that. Number one is optimization. A lot of these AI agents, especially without the prompt that I just gave it, don't understand the latest code, and they don't really write production ready code. And number 2 is security. Even when you say, hey, make this thing optimized and secure, it necessarily doesn't know how to do that. So I always recommend to keep a developer on your team. But this is really important, because what this allows now is for server owners to make these little scripts, like a custom notification system. And even if it's like you make it and then send it to your developer as a script and be like, hey, this is what I want, make it production ready, something like that could work. I hope this video, kind of clarified some things. And if you guys have any more questions, and if you guys want to see more of these kind of videos, make sure you guys like it. Also, make sure you guys are in the Discord at discord.gg/trace. It's completely free. We have an entire community there that is built upon AI and the FiveM community. We also have plenty of tutorials here on the channel. So if you guys have any more questions, like I said, make sure to reach out to me. Thank you guys for watching the video. See you guys in the next one.